Good evening, everyone. It is us. Oh, we have that song, and I tried to upload it, and I wonder if it came up clearer. But you know what? I think I might try to. I'll take care of it and maybe make it the outro. My name is Donna V, and I'm the host tonight of Open-Minded Mystics, and this is Monday, January 23rd. It is the third Monday of the month. There are 4 this month, which is pretty amazing. Next Monday, we won't be here live. You could see us by coming and joining us with our Open-Minded Mystics Mastermind class. We have plenty of information for that I'll be showing you a flyer. But let me introduce to you Tracy Locke, voice of the audience. How are you, Tracy? And of course, Miss Kim Mazzella, relationship coach and light docent. So excited to see you, ladies. I'm going to switch you over so that I can properly put you on the big screen. We are rolling in with some viewers. Welcome tonight. I hope that you are having a wonderful day. If you are watching and you don't mind sharing, we would absolutely love and appreciate that. So if you're watching on any of the channels, whether it be on Twitch, on YouTube, or on Facebook, share. If you're checking us out on YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share there. Tonight is episode 64, and we are discussing, well, Kim, mission statements.
A mission statement.
Yes, couldn't come at a better time. It just seems absolutely perfect.
Absolutely. At the beginning of the year, it's a good time to really set yourself. The mission statement is very different than what we do. Mission statement is big picture thinking. It's not doesn't get bogged down in the minutia. It's a deciding in a big picture way who you're going to be and how you're going to show up in the world. And I can't wait to get into it and it's describing all the different parts and pieces. And I have started doing mission statements when I was young, and I can't believe I haven't done one this year, but we're going to do it together. We can get started on it together.
Yes, we are. I had somebody ask, and I know that Tracy Locke is the voice of the audience. And she got the same question. I'm going to let Tracy read it, but I'm going to put up the banner. This is a big one. Are you ready?
I'm ready. What is a mission statement and how does it differ from scripting? That's a phenomenal question, Donna V.
Yeah, well, because we spent a lot of time on scripting and we spent a lot of time on teaching everyone how to do a script. But this is, something a little bit different. So why don't you tell us about it, Kim?
Okay, so scripting is a response to an experience, right? Scripting is this happened in my life and now I want this to happen in my life, right? So it could be a future decision. I want it to go like this. So scripting is very specific and it's about an event or an experience that you want to create. Mission statement is about how you plan on showing up in the world. When I decided I wanted to live a more spiritual life, I didn't know what that meant, right? It just sounded like I was going to become this spiritual guru and all of a sudden be happy. Well, I didn't really ever decide to live a more spiritual life. Let me rephrase that. I decided I want to be happy, right? And so your mission is your path to becoming happy. It is your decision. So what started happening in my practice is I read energy and people would say to me, what's my purpose? And I'm like, what do you think it is? Right. And so this is where you decide what your purpose is, how you want to show up and what's important to you. It's where you establish your values. So missions are kind of harder to do because you got to kind of think about it for a little bit. When you feel charged emotionally and you're writing your vent and then you write your script, you really are really clear about what you want. When you sit down to write a mission, it's about becoming clear about what you want. So part of my mission, one of my missions in relationship is I always am going to play big, right? I'm always going to play big. And that's a tough mission because it's so easy and so fun sometimes to play small, right? And if you don't know what that means.
I was going to just say, what does that mean?
What does that actually mean?
Okay. So playing big is seeing the other person through the eyes of spirit, is connecting to the truth about them and not pretending that you don't know that you're a spirit and they're a spirit and there's a bigger picture going on, right? Being a victim, right? Being a victim is playing small, right? You're not a victim in any of the experiences that you have. I mean, there are some experiences that we have where you are being victimized. So I'm not going to say that you're not, but with most relationships, you've attracted what you experience, right? So it's not being a victim. It's not allowing the other person to, when you deal with a narcissist, is anybody's ever dealt with a narcissist? They immediately want you to feel crazy. Playing big is knowing the truth about what's going on. Playing big is, so I'll give a scenario when my boyfriend and I got in a massive fight. He hates that I talk about him, but you're my guinea pig.
You're her muse. You're her muse.
You're right. So what happened was we had this plan for a year about what we were going to do, and COVID hit. And so it altered our plan, which made a lot of sense. So him being the rational, let's look at this from this rational point of view, said this doesn't make sense anymore. COVID has changed things. Let's put this off a year. Now, the child in me, there was part of me that's like, no, I want to do this now. And so playing small is, you did this to me. You don't love me. Why would you do right? And I wanted to. There was part of me that could have used that as leverage. Look at what you did to me, right? But playing big is going and saying, you're right. There is this pandemic. Let me try to see it from your point of view, right? Let me not use this as a weapon against you. Let's have a real conversation where I share my real feelings about this, and we talk in truth, right? A lot of times people play small in relationship because they don't tell their truth, right? And then they just hide it, right? Or they don't tell the truth because it's scary. So you are scared, and that's playing small, right? Playing small is, I'm too afraid to tell you your truth, so I'm going to pretend I'm okay. That's playing small, because that will come and bite you in the butt eventually, because the way you feel eventually will have to come up, because what you'll do is you'll sit on it and you'll sit on it, and that pile you're sitting on will just get bigger and bigger and bigger until you no longer can sit on it. And then you explode. So playing big is being honest and truthful in the moment, being authentic in the moment. It's hard. It's not really very easy to play big. It's very easy to play small. And so a lot of times most people are surprised when I tell them what they're doing is playing small, but you know it in your heart when you're playing small, because you're not being authentic. You're not being truthful, and you're using it to get your leverage. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Kind
absolutely.
Yeah, I'm like, kind of. No, it does. It does.
Why does it kind of make sense to you, Donna? What's the kind of part?
Why did you have to get there? I think for me, I guess the confusion lies in, I love the part about being honest. I love the part about having a truthful relationship, but that's a two-way street.
Right. No. And your mission statement does not have to do with the other person. It has nothing to do with the other person. It's all about you. Because ultimately, how you show up in life is what you attract in life, right? So when people stay in your life, or sometimes we attract things. So people stay for a reason, a season, and a lifetime, right? The people who stay for like the lifetime, they are like on your wavelength, right? They become your wavelength, your tribe. The people some people just come to show you something that may be going on in you, right? And we're not always on the same frequency, right? Sometimes we vibrate here, and then sometimes we vibrate here. And so because we're not perfect, we're attracting all the different parts of us. But I do think that when it comes to relationships come so that we get better, like in a way that we begin. Because I'm going to tell you, most of my relationships, unfortunately, I have learned the hardest lessons about myself, the best things about myself. Nothing has stretched me or made me grow like relationships, not just love relationships, relationships with women, relationships with bosses. My boss taught me more about being honest and living authentically than spiritual teachers I've had, because I've seen this is a person who speaks and lives his word. He won't buy certain brands. He won't wear certain brands because of what his belief system is. You're not allowed to, and he lives it.
So like the 4 agreements, it's like you're being impeccable with your word.
Right.
Is what you're talking about.
The 4 agreements are a mission statement.
Oh, okay.
That's so interesting. It's very interesting because Courtney actually is reading that. She's taking a spiritual psychology class right now, and she has to, she may, I don't know, attend one of our open-minded mystics groups. And I told her that we are doing next Monday is seeing everything through the eyes of love. And I said, that might not be a bad one for you to come into, learn the emotional scale. So if anybody else that's watching is wondering what the heck I'm talking about, there's still room in our group next Monday night. But seeing everything through the eyes of love. So when you're talking about a mission statement, you're obviously kind of combining that because you want to see what you want for yourself through the eyes of love, not ego.
Right. Right. So mission statement says, okay, so let's start with the first one, just so that maybe I can make sense. So the first mission statement that I came up with, because I believe that life is holistic, right? So life means that what that means is that you can't just work on one part of yourself. I actually had a client the other day who told me, she's like, I'm only going to focus on this thing because I can only focus on one thing at a time. And I'm like, that's great, but you're living a whole day. So you're only going to focus on this thing the whole day, but you have a body that you've got to feed. You're going to tell me you're not going to feed your body all day. You've got to you somehow get to work and get home from work. You're not going to bump into anybody else all day long. You're not going to have any thoughts besides this. I think that you can work on more than one thing at a time. I'm just going to tell you this now. Not to be judgmental, but I just think it's really important to understand. For me, when I was healing from addiction, which we could talk about that too. When I was healing from addiction, I used to just try to heal my addiction, right? That thing I was doing. And when I realized that it had nothing to do with that thing that I was doing, and when I healed my relationship with myself, that is how I healed my addiction. Right. My relationship with myself is what I call my relationship with God. Now, you may see it differently, but for me, when I healed that relationship with my inner self, when I healed that part of me, then I was able to heal that other part of me that was using something to not be connected. Anyway, so the first mission statement, that you could do it as 4 pieces or do it as one, whatever's easier. Some people just want one paragraph of a mission statement, right? Like, and they feel like that's 5 sentences would sum up them, right? Like if you want to use the 4 agreements as your mission statement, don't take things personally, be impeccable with your word, don't make assumption, and do your best, right? Always do your best. You're
Right.
There you go.
Which is a great, but I mean, I feel that that's like a great backbone. That's a great outline. That's a great way to start to look at it, because it can be overwhelming when someone says, like, what is your life mission? Like, oh my God, well, I don't know. That's
Yeah.
really, really overwhelming. It's a lot of pressure. But if you go over those 4 agreements, they make so much sense. They're so simplistic. It's something that applies to every facet of your life. And when you apply it to every facet of your life, it really makes sense. So I think Kim and Donna, and you tell me, maybe the more simplistic you do it, the better it is.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
don't mire yourself. Like, with in scripting, it seems like you need to go into a lot of detail. Like, I want blank, 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 and blank, so that it's very specifically out to the universe. It seems, and let me ask you, is the mission statement a little more nebulous? Like, it's a little more wide open? Or
Yeah, and you know what? I do think short and sweet isn't. Have you ever seen a company's mission that doesn't go on and on and on? They don't tell you.
Right.
It's just like, we're going to do our best not to give you crap, and we're going to, like, it's just like, and we're going to treat our employees with respect. La la la. Right? I mean, that's, if you live your life with that kind of mission, like, I don't know, the 4 agreements are a great mission to have. Right?
Yes, I know. I'm writing that down because they are.
For me, in relationship, my mission is to always play big, and to me, I know.
I love that. Yeah.
I know what that means. I mean, is it being authentic? It's getting to that scary place with the people. I don't want to go to that scary, vulnerable place with, like, my boss. Love ya. I mean, if he's watching this, but with the appropriate people, right? Like with the people who are worthy of my vulnerability.
Right.
With my partner, being honest, being upfront. With my children, you could say playing big with my kids. Playing big covers it all. I know with my children, playing big is, for my kids, is not pretending. Thank you, Jerry. Not pretending it's okay when they don't want to grow up. Because that's the big thing that happens with my kids, is that, my son has just gone through a thing, and I had to be very careful that I only spoke to the part of him that I knew he could be an adult about, right? Because if I talked to my son and made him think that I needed him or he needed me, I'm not helping him grow up. Like, he did not need me. He needs to know that he doesn't need me in order to be able to stand on his own 2 feet. So I had to come to him as that person who knows, because as a mom, you want to be like, oh, I'm going to come and save the day. I'll make everything better, but you can't, right? So it had to be like, you can do this. You can do this. And then I had to know he could. And that's playing big with your kids, right? It's just not that easy. It's just not that easy.
So is the first one physical?
Physical,
Okay.
right? So how I care my body and the environment. Right. And I do think that that's all physical. Like Mother Earth is a living, breathing being in my world. Right. Now, here's the thing. Just because I have a belief, I'm also an allower. So if Mother Earth isn't a physical breathing thing in your world, that's your belief. I'm not going to sit in judgment of that. Right. But for me, I'm really careful about, I want to take good care of my body. And you know that if you hung out with me I'm careful. I'm not always careful because on Saturday night I drank quite a bit, but everyone, I have my moments,
Right.
but I do for like 80% of the time, take really good care of my body. And so that's enough for me, right? Like, now I'm not going to be like throwing pollution, I'm not going to drink motor oil the other 20% of the time, but I do my best to be careful within, and still be able to be flexible. I'll take care of my body in the best, in loving ways, and are flexible. One of my missions, though, is to drink water. It's part of my mission. So to drink water, to nourish my body with plenty of water. So that's in my mission. That's
Right.
a very specific detail, but for me, that's a really important detail. So that, because I do think that water is really important for the chakra system and keeping it in balance, right? So, I drink a lot of water because I think it's really good for balancing. It may not be an important part of your physical mission. It's a specific, and you don't have to get that
It's a
specific.
healthy habit, Kim, and I think everybody should get into it.
Yeah, no, I think it's important to do,
Yeah.
because I think what happens is, and I think this is why this discussion is so important, is when you say, what's your mission statement? That seems like overwhelming, and like you've really had to put a lot of thought behind it, and you absolutely should put a ton of thought behind it. But it's even little things like drinking water. That's such a basic little thing, but we need to remind each other to do that, and it's an important thing.
Right. Right. And so if you ever take my course, you'll be annoyed to know that I do talk about water every single week, because I'm an energy healer, an energy reader, an energy connector. And I really think that it's the one thing. And if you ever listen to Abraham Hicks, they talk about water all the time. She'll say, if you ask her about anything physical, she'll just say, drink a lot of water. I'm like, okay. But
you're like, all right, I wish it was that easy.
Water, well, think about it. I mean, even, we want to think about it positively, but even in the way where, what will travel through water is energy. Like if you, God forbid, like you should never touch an electrical cord when you have wet feet, right? We know that, right, because why? You'll get zapped. When they're dry, nothing travels. Yeah. It's very different. Yeah. It's very, very different. Yeah. Because it makes it flow. I remember we had Valerie on from Witch's Cove.
Oh yeah, she's awesome.
One of the most profound things that she said, and I knew it already, but she reminded us of it, was that the energy in water, she would talk to it. Yeah. She would actually speak into the water, bless the water. And one of the things I used to talk about in story time was, you can be baptized in water, but if you're not being baptized, you can internalize. So you could actually say what it is that you want that water to travel with, and then you ingest it. And it's like, I love that idea of putting something into it, or like a penny in a well and putting a wish into a well. But like, if you actually put the physical, like the wish in the water, you're the well. Like, you're the well.
That's awesome. Yeah. And it's really very, very true, because it was something I stopped a lot of things from being able to be connected to myself. Right. And when I started drinking water, I did notice such a difference in the way I felt, the way I connected. And so most people know, if you hang out with me, I'm going to be drinking a lot of water, and I will ask you to also, if you are getting coached by me, and I'm not hard about it. I'm just like, what do you drink now? Can you add a little bit? Because I don't want people to all of a sudden like feel like it's a big job. It's just like, let's get used to creating better habits. Like one of the things that I feel like is that we could just get in the habit of understanding that self-esteem is not something we're born with. Self-esteem is something that we develop through commitment. And it's that simple. When you keep little teeny commitments to yourself, when you show yourself you're worth it, that's how you develop self-esteem. Self-esteem, none of us are born with it. We're actually born thinking we're awesome, and then the world will tell us we're not, right? And we just have to teach ourselves by keeping little commitments. Making your bed in the morning says, I love myself enough that no one might see this. No one might see this. But look at, I'm going to take care of myself. I'm proving to myself I'm important enough to make things neat for me. I'm important enough to clean this thing. No one will see it. I'll keep my car clean because that makes me feel peaceful and calm. And I used to not, right? I used to be a slob about everything. But when I started saying, you know, I'm worth keeping this space clean, no one's going to see it. I'm the only one in here. But to me, I say I'm worth it. If you could, you don't just keep these huge commitments, but you could put in your mission statement, I'm going to keep, if I make a commitment, I'm going to keep it. And that's why I'm very careful about making commitments. I usually say, we'll see if I don't know, because we'll see. And my kids will always be like, oh, we'll see means you're not going to do it.
Right.
Right. But it doesn't mean I'm not going to do it. It just means I'm not 100% committed and I'm not going to say something, at least go into a statement. And we all don't keep our word impeccably. It's hard to live a life and always be like, oh, I do 100% of the things I say I'm going to do. But we got to make an attempt. So that's what your mission statement is. What's your mission statement is your attempt. So, you know, if you can't hit a target you don't see. So your mission statement is you're saying, this is the target I'm going to hit. And you're setting your boundaries. So your physical mission statement could just be something like, I'll do my best to take care of my body and the world as best as I can. And whatever that means to you. So for me, like taking care of my environment is keeping my household clean. I do grow some plants. So I do, like, you know, my daughter and I have some, we have like a lemon plant. We have some, and that makes me feel good. You don't have to have that. Or you could just say, trying to take care of the environment in the way you feel. Your environment can also be your home, right? Your home is your environment. So for me, my environment, it's not just the earth. Although some people might have a mission statement that has to do with Mother Earth, like I'll always get back to Mother Earth. If that's part of your mission, then you should do it. But for me, it's my physical environment. My mission statement is I'll do my best to make the best of it, to make it a peaceful place for me to live in. Because when my house feels somewhat organized, even though I'm often busy and running around and kind of drop things where I can, but I do spend time straightening out my house. So you could just say in your mission, I'll do my best to, I'll always do my best to create a lovely space for myself or something like that.
Right.
Because should we live in lovely spaces?
Yeah. And I agree with that. It's so interesting because it really, I love your statement and I wrote it down. Self-esteem is what you develop through commitment. And I do think it is commitment. And there's, I'm listening to this, guy talk about minimalism, which I think is an interesting concept. And what he was just saying, one concept that you can do that is in regard to what you're saying, Kim, is it's like the 1 minute rule. If there's, and they call it the 1 minute rule. If there's something that you could do within the minute that's like, that'll take you about a minute to do, meaning instead of leaving that those pile of papers, sort them, just go through them for a minute or throw them out or put that thing away. It makes such a huge difference. You don't think that it would. And here's the thing. I am like you. I am a reformed, like super messy person. And what it was when I first started living alone, like when I lived, you know, in college and everything and at home, I was like, whatever. And everything was a mess. And then I got my own place. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to just keep it really neat for me, just for me. Like you say, I don't know who's going to see it. It doesn't matter. And the thing was not about being neat. It was about knowing where things were to make my life simpler. And I was like, oh my God, this is so nice that I know where everything is.
Right.
And it just, I think it's not about being neat or messy. It's about like you say, creating an environment where you feel calm. Because when things were everywhere and my car was a mess and everything, I felt like, I feel so scattered because I don't know where anything is. So I think it is a commitment to yourself. So I think people out there should really think about that. This is a commitment to yourself. And this mission statement is about you and not about other people, right?
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
Okay.
And one of the things that I just had a thought about is, you know, we talked about the archetypes, and there is an archetype of people who come in to create beauty. Right. And so beauty is actually really important. It's so important that there's several different archetypes about it. And it's not about beautiful people. It's about creating cleaner spaces or joyful spaces or spaces. I have this one client, and I know her. So I walk into her home, and whenever I walk into her house, I feel just very peaceful. And I'm like, what do you do that it feels so peaceful in this home? Right. And I don't, when we create beauty, I mean, you must have that archetype, Donna, because most people who make people beautiful are in that. And you do create beauty if you think about it, Donna, when it comes to all the different charities that you give to and all the people that you connect to. So I think it's part of your archetype too, is creating beauty.
Thank you.
But I do think that it is important to keep the commitments that you make in your mission statement. But your mission statement isn't just about commitments. It's more about, what's my purpose here? My purpose physically is, I'm going to take really good care of the vessel that I live in, and how I'm going to do it is, and how I'm going to value myself is. And you put in that's whatever works for you, right? Whatever makes you happy. But to my physical mission statement also includes exercise. So what I say is, I'm going to exercise my body lovingly in ways that make me happy, right? So for me, that would be yoga. I mean, it's not about like pumping iron, although I have been with my arms because of,
your shoulder.
Yeah, my shoulder. I'm actually got like stronger arms now than I
Woo,
did.
That's great.
Range of motion. You're like, woo.
I know. The guy's like, I want you to move up to 12-pound weights. I'm like, I never lifted a 12-pound weight. I'm like lifting it off the ground. I'm like, these are heavy. I know, like my son was like laughing because he like lifts 50, but I'm like, look at me lifting 12-pound weights. Like, I'm like, look, it's pretty cool, right?
Right.
And it's a lot of fun too. I mean, and there are people out there probably like 12-pound weights, Kim, but
It's all right.
That's all right. That's all right. They're like, she knows the mission statement stuff. So that's all we have to do.
Right.
So
right. Okay. So emotional and mental. So I want to talk about this because it's hard. This is the hardest thing to write. And I'm going to tell you why, because you're like, how am I going to show up emotionally? How am I going to show up mentally? Well, if you think about what manifesting is, you better have a mission. It's best. Let's just say it's best to have a mission, emotional and mental mission statement. And so this is just your commitment to self about what you're going to do when it comes to how you're going to handle your emotions and how you're going to handle your thoughts. So for me, my emotional and mental mission statement is, I will always do my best to pay attention to my emotions, let my emotions be my guide, and use tools to move myself to above content, right? Or to content or better. That's my whole mission. Right.
All right. So how I show up in life every day and the focus of my
of my thoughts.
There you go. You know what? I knew it and I forgot to hit the save button.
Okay, my thoughts.
Sorry about that, everybody.
So your emotional mental mission statement isn't, I'm never going to feel bad again. I'm never going to have negative emotion. Welcome to Earth.
Yeah, right.
Earth will not let you not have a negative emotion. Welcome if it's your first day.
Yeah, exactly.
But every day could be your first day.
Well, isn't it? So I have to say that I feel like this year I went into a 7-year, and I talk about this, and every 7-year has been difficult for me. And I'm like so sick and tired of having difficult 7 years. This year, I'm going to have a spiritual 7-year. And I made this decision, and it's been like a magical mystery tour. I pre-paved my 7-year because most people aren't out there worried, oh my gosh, my 7-year is coming. Yeah.
Your 7th year is your Jubilee year. Do you know that?
No, really?
Do you know what that is?
No.
Okay, well, it's very interesting. Danny Cohen talks about it in a hilarious way. But in the Bible, every 7th year was called the year of Jubilee. And so what that was is, if you were a slave, whatever you owed, you were free after 7 years. Like, so whatever you owed, all your debts were forgiven after 7 years. So that is the year of Jubilee. It's like you're starting with a clean slate. You're starting fresh.
That's awesome. Okay.
So think of it as your year of Jubilee.
It is my year of Jubilee.
I love that. Clean slate.
It's been a very, I mean, I know we're only not even a full month into it, but I had to tell you, I feel like this is a very transformational month for me because I've really upped my commitment game when it comes to meditation and reading A Course in Miracles. And I read, and I talked about this, about being of service, and really just because I'm on the manual for teachers. And if you read A Course in Miracles, there are all the books are for everyone, but in it, it says a manual for teachers, which means it's for you too, right?
Right.
Because we're all students and we're all teachers. And when I first read it, I'm like, oh, I should read that part. And when I, like in my 20s, and like, no, that's for you also. So in a manual teachers, it says something like, I wish I knew the line word for word, but it says eventually you get to the point where you just start your day and you just say, where would you have me walk? What would you have me do? What would you have me to say, and to whom? And that is how I feel like I started this year. Like, where would you have me go? Whatever
That's
you have
awesome.
me to do. What would you have me say, and to whom? And I've been kind of like living it like my year like that. And it feels like it's been like a very magical, mystical way to live my life, because I start my morning like that. And I just keep saying that sentence, whatever you would have me say, make me a vessel. Just make me a vessel for that.
Okay, so wait, I have to stop you right there, because as the audience, I'm dying to ask you this. So you do that in your meditation in the morning, and then how does it manifest? Meaning, are you hearing a voice saying like, okay, here's what I want you to do? Or you just feel like, I should turn right now? Like you just get a feeling, or how does that actually manifest?
I have to tell you that I just was reading. So I meditated right before we started this. So there is, in lesson 71 in the book is where it actually is. But the original lesson 71 is not what I was reading when I read that part. I was reading in the manual for teachers, but lesson 71 really says those words. Where would you have me go? What would you have me say? Mm-hmm. And it talks about grievances, but really what it means is like, you just keep repeating those ideas through the day. And when someone shows up in your life, you want to remind yourself, my job is to be a vessel for love, right? That's it. I just want to see this through the eyes of spirit. So someone's talking to you, let me see them through the eyes of spirit. I do nothing alone. And what that means is everything I do with love. That's how I interpret it. Now you could say everything I do with God. And if that works for you, then it's the same thing, right? Everything I do with the Holy Spirit, whatever works for you.
Yep.
So something happens, every new segment, because I do segment intending, every new segment that you go into, you could say, oh, right. You go into a new segment. I'm not alone. I'm spirit. Everything I do through the eyes of spirit. Send blessings everywhere you go. And then something comes up and you're like, oh, so I had something scary come up at work today. I thought I might have sent out a check without having it signed by 2 people, which is like a big faux pas, because I work in a school, and God forbid you do something like that. Like the winds will come and the rains will come and the building will be blown down. I don't know.
Right.
The locust, and I don't know. They'll shut the school down.
Totally get it.
So I was like, oh. And I mean, if it had been 30 years ago, I would have gone into a full-blown panic attack, probably rolling on the floor. But I'm not that girl anymore, right? Unless I drink on Saturday, which I will share. But
like then I was rolling on the floor.
So I'm like, oh, I'm not alone, right? You just tell me what to do. So I just calm down. You just tell me what to do. Work through me. And so there's a statement that says, I refuse not to hear. Right there, that's what the book says. I refuse.
That's a double negative. I love it.
Not to hear. There's a lot of double negatives in the Course in Miracles. It used to drive me crazy whenever I just refuse not to hear. You tell me what to do. And I just got really calm. I didn't know what to do. I picked up the phone. I called the woman. I'm like, what do I do? She goes, call the company. See if they have the check. I called the company. They had the check. They put it in the mail. It came back. It was all good. Right.
Right.
But I think that if I had done that on my own, I would have maybe gone to my boss. So I don't know, like it would have just not been so calm. It was just such a calm, relaxed experience. I made a mistake. I went to Source said, just relax. And I just, I'm not doing this. Don't do anything alone anymore. You don't have to. Isn't that nice to think?
Yeah.
And refuse not to hear. Know that the message is going to come. The message is going to come. It's you, but it's with you. It's not you on your own energy. And that's how I've been living my life.
That's amazing. I love that.
Yeah, Jinx, that's amazing. I said the same thing, same time. Yeah. All right. So then in the emotional and mental part of your mission statement, how would you give an example of what someone might write? How I show up every day in life. So if someone is taking this show, now we're 34 minutes in, just so you know, and there are 2 more segments because you said there's 4 portions of the mission statement. So if someone's writing this down like a recipe, like I know I'm taking notes, and so is Tracy.
Yep.
So I have my physical, how I care for my body, and you can put, we talked about that. Emotional and mental, how I show up in life. But how would you
how about like this?
Yeah.
One thing that I used to write is, and I don't do this anymore because I kind of do it naturally now after the 30 years of working on this.
But for the newbies.
For the newbies, whenever I feel a strong emotion, I'll stop and take a breath. Right? That could be in your mission statement. That's a stop and take a breath, and I will ask for help from above. That could be a mission. I'm always going to do my best to come to the world from an emotionally calm place. I'm always going to do my best to think my best thoughts. So I will use whatever tools I learn to. So that could be what your mission statement is. So it could be like, I'm going to do my best to come to the world from content or better. And when I feel less than content, because that's part of the emotional scale, less than content is your indicator that your emotion, your inner guide is giving you information. When you feel sad, that means that you're out of alignment with your inner guide. So in your statement, you'll say, I'll use my emotions, I'm an inner guide, as my guide to when I need to do the work on myself. And I'll never do it alone. I'll ask for help from spirit, or I'll never do it alone. I'll get support in other ways. Whatever you want.
Are mission statements larger mantras?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, because it seems like it's like you're taking a bunch of mantras and you're grouping them together in. So if you were to have 3 sticky notes with 3 different mantras for the day, you might be able to group that together into a mission statement.
Yeah, you could absolutely. So, I mean, if you think about, look at a business mission statement. They're really big, overarching
but where
ideas.
do we, not to sound silly and ignorant, but where do we find one? Like
Nike, just do it. Nike.
Well, that's their logo.
That's their logo. But it's also a mission statement because it is a statement of like, it is their logo, but it's also a mission statement. If you know anything about Nike, it's like, stop overthinking it. Go and live your life and do it, and just give yourself the permission to try. That's because I did this whole thing where I researched a lot of Nike, and Nike is all about allowing yourself the freedom to just try and not worry about what everyone else is thinking, not worrying about what happens if it doesn't work out. It's just do it. And if you really apply that to your life, just do it. It's again, the simplicity of just do it. That's why it's such a powerful message, because it's like it applies to so many things on so many levels.
3 words, that's it.
And here's the thing: if most people writing a mission statement, mission statements are going to look similar, right? Because the thing is, if you're sitting and saying, how do I want to show up in the world emotionally and mentally? Most of us are going to say, we want to show up powerfully. I'm going to show up to all things powerfully from my most centered and grounded place. And I'm going to do whatever I need to do to get there. I'm going to use all the emotional tools that I've learned to become the most calm and centered version of myself. Not because you want to be a spiritual guru, because you want to make good decisions, right? Like no one is ever motivated to be spiritual, or we're always motivated to be happier, to make better decisions. That makes sense. Okay. At least I wasn't. If you're motivated to be spiritual, God bless you.
That's like my friend Michelle.
Literally, God bless you.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Okay, personally, your mission statement. So you could say, well, what do I want to do with my life? How's that not specific? Right. So a personal mission, part of your mission statement is about what you want when it comes to your life, right? So what is your purpose? What is your purpose could be like, and I'm not talking about your job. Remember, your job may or may not be your purpose, but my purpose in life is that I'm going to be of service to others, right? And number 1 on that list is myself. I'm going to be service to myself and to all others, right? I'm going to always do my best to make the best of it. That's my personal mission. That's actually my personal mission statement always. I will What is that? I will do my best to make the best of it.
Which is great.
Yeah. Thank you, Abraham Hicks. I love you. They taught me that sentence.
Right.
I'll do my best to make the best of it. That could be your personal mission statement, or it could be, I'm going to travel the world emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Like I'm going to become a world traveler. That could be your personal mission statement. And world traveling could mean I'm going to you could do it from your home, right? Like I'm going to explore the world. That could be part of I'm going to expand my horizons and explore my world on a daily basis. Push the levels of who I am, right? To me, I'm always trying to expand myself. So that could be part of your personal mission statement. Like for me, I was just thinking about this, like, so I'm at that age where the kids are getting ready to fly away. And I was talking about to Mariel, and she was like, aren't you so lucky that most women, like a lot of women, when their kids like leave, are like, what do I do next? And you already know, right? Yeah, I already know what I want to do next. So I'm already working on it, right? Like, so for me, it's about really expanding open-minded mystics, exploring more of the world, becoming more in the world, is being of greater service to more people, teaching everyone meditation. That could be part of that every person on planet Earth will become a meditator, because that wouldn't be right. You know what I mean? Like that I explore the world. Whatever makes you happy should be in your mission statement. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
For personal. So now I think that the most important part of the mission statement is the last one, right? Relationship. Because this is really like the hardest one. This is I gotta look in the mirror. I can't.
She's going nuts with her bangs, guys. Her haircut is growing out 2 weeks, and I know exactly the space she's in. When she first got it cut, everything fell into place. 2 weeks in, she doesn't remember if a part goes right or left. And when you're looking in a camera, you can't tell which way to go with your bangs. I know exactly what's happening.
Bingo!
You know how many times in the morning?
I could not figure it out.
How many times in the morning on story time I was like, which way did I put my bangs today? Well, I don't know, kids. What letter are we on? F for fringe. I don't know which way it goes. I saw you, and you were like, really? You were like getting it. You're like, I was like, what is happening? Kim, I know a really good life coach.
That was the best thing ever.
Can help you with your bangs.
I'm like, I can't do this.
He's like, I've got to look in the mirror. Thank God I'm not a narcissist.
There you go. Exactly.
Through the eyes of love, not ego. Which way are my bangs? All right, Cher, are you with us?
I'm crying.
Cher.
Well, you should have mentioned this before I got back.
Exactly. More like a time travel.
Oh my God, I'm crying.
All right, relationships. What do I value in my relationships, and how do I show up in my relationships?
I already told you, for me, it's about playing big, right? So that would be, I set really good boundaries. That could be like, it's so much easier to set a mission when it comes to relationships, because it makes so much more sense. Isn't it amazing that we're much better at how I'm going to show up for other people than how I'm going to show up for myself? Right?
Yep, of course.
Well, you know, one of the things, of course, in Miracles says that I think is really kind of cool is that the reason there are other people is because we'd never be able to grow personally if we were alone. We wouldn't see who to forgive. We can't forgive ourselves. We just can't. So we push it out into the world, and then we forgive other people. But that's kind of deep, so we don't have to go into that.
That's real deep,
right? But you know, because everybody, if we're really joined and we're all one, why would there need to be others? But let's not get into that today.
Right.
So when you think about relationships, I'm not just talking about love relationships, but I think most people think about like their partner when they're doing this. But it's also about children. It's also about the people in your life, your family members. You know, how much. Yeah, I've met families where they don't really feel the need to all get together all the time, right? Like, so in your mission statement, you might want to talk about space when it comes to family members and relationship and what's important to you. I always feel like the relationship mission becomes the biggest one when the people are working on it. Like the other 3 could have like 3 lines, and this one has 67. It's just the way it ends up.
Right, because like you say, you're dealing with other people, so you really think and focus.
Well, what were you going to say, Donna?
Okay, so when you write the mission statement, when we get to that part and you put it all together, how often do you write a mission statement? How long is it good for? Is it like something that you should continue to write?
Well, I did it I've done it for about 20 years, and I look at mine, although I haven't done it, and I don't have it up right now, which is like crazy because I redid my thing because I thought I was moving and then I didn't move, so it's out in my garage. But I will redo it.
A detached garage with no heat in it. It's a cement floor.
So
she's very specific when she's scripting, and right now,
Right.
she's telling us how she does it.
No. So what I would say is this: put your mission statement up somewhere you could see it, right? And so put it up somewhere you could see it, because this isn't about, it's not manifesting something specific. It's really about who you want to be, how you want to show up in the world. So for me, it's always a reminder that I want to be a person who's always growing, always becoming a better version of themselves. And how am I doing, right? Like, how am I doing? And so what I would say is look at it every year and see if it needs to be updated. How are you doing with it? Because who you were 10 years ago and what you were interested in is not going to be who you are now, and who you are in 10 years is not going to be who you are now. But I think the general mission, like, don't think, is this me? Do you?
Oh, I'm sorry. That was me.
Okay. Sorry. Don't take things personally. Don't make assumptions. Don't be impeccable with your word, and always do your best. Those are things that we'll always want to have. And isn't it amazing that I've read the 4 agreements enough times that I could just spew them out like that?
Right. Well, you know what I think is a really good thing? A lot of videos that I watch talk about future self, which I believe is what this is really as well, the mission statement. And it's like, keep that mission statement up so that you can remind yourself of how your future self would react to something. Meaning, if this is who you want to be, how would that person react instead of who you are now? Would the person that you want to be put up with the crap that's happening now? Like, I've done it a million times, and I'm like, ooh, it's such an interesting way to think of things, because you're like, oh no, it's almost like you take on a persona of who you actually want to be, and then you actually grow up, that you grow into it.
Right. I love that idea.
I think a mission statement is a great way to, it's almost like a character study where it's like your script, like you're keeping it up there, like, oh no, Erica Kane would not put up with that crap. Right. And so you become that because that person does not put up with that crap. And I think it's a way to kind of be outside of yourself and give yourself guidance without feeling weird about it.
Yeah,
if that makes any sense.
And here's the thing. If you write something down, it has power. It's so much more power than if you just have it in your head. I'm sorry. So much more power.
No, it's so true.
I was just talking to my mother about this the other day. I'm like, sometimes I'm just like in awe, because I thought there was never going to come a day. And I know it's crazy because it's been a long time, but still, it still amazes me that there was a time in my life that I thought there was never going to come a day where I wasn't going to have some sort of addiction, where I wasn't going to have something I woke up in the morning and felt guilty about, where I wasn't going to have something that I felt shame over. And I don't like,
for Saturday.
Well, okay. So Saturday night, I drunk shopped.
You heard it here, folks.
Yes.
But Sunday morning, I sober returned everything.
Sober returned. That's all that matters.
Oh, she sent herself to rehab.
Yes. I sent myself to sober rehab because I had a shopping addition many years ago.
Delete.
Yeah, that's pretty intense. Oh
my God, what did I do? And I actually mentioned it to my boyfriend. I'm like, when was I shopping?
He thought you were asleep next to him. Like,
2 martinis is not the way to go, apparently.
Right. Isn't that hilarious?
But I didn't have any guilt over that. I just actually felt kind of like, when did this happen? So I figured it doesn't really count because I returned everything.
No, it doesn't count.
And I was super transparent about it. There was no like lying or like going into the closet and do.
It wasn't closet shopping.
It wasn't
closet. It was top shelf drinking and shopping.
Right, exactly.
And returning the next day. Right. But yeah, no, that was really, I was like, does that count?
Even the life coach has a slip, folks. Okay, so if we were to combine all of them together and you were to take and put in your physical, emotional, personal, which I have to take away from personally and make it personal because I thought that's where you were going with it, and then the relationship, okay? Would you write that in one paragraph? I mean, each part in its own paragraph to make a full, or are you saying, could you make a mission statement for one of the components, or do you have to include all four?
I think that your mission statement could be 4 sentences that include each one touches on each component. If that's my mission statement is not 4 different sections. When I teach it in 4 sections so that you don't forget to include those things, right?
Gotcha.
It's important to include what you want your emotional mental health to be. It's important to include what you want your physical health to be, because we're holistic, right? I take a holistic approach to life. We can't pretend we're just one thing. We're not just our thoughts. I mean, we're not. We one of the things that I love, Abraham Hicks says, or even Dolores Cannon, we may know spiritually everything. We've come here to experience it. So we are a spirit, but we're a spirit in a body, and the body is important when it comes to it's the vessel in which we get around, right? And it because we're in a body, we have an emotional experience, and I think that spirit doesn't have that same type of emotional experience. So all of these things are connected. So your energy body is really the combination of your physical and emotion, and your energy body is the combination of your physical and your subtle body. So it's like you can't, and your spiritual body, right? So you have your spiritual part of you and your emotional, physical part of you. And in the middle of that, there's the energy that goes in between. And so our energy body is really where we decide. So you can't pretend you're not physical. You can't pretend you're not emotional. You can't pretend you're not mental. You have thoughts. And I did it again. Don't let me touch my hair.
Yeah, just keep going.
Put it on your hand, Trembreze. That cool, refreshing drink.
We should just do like one show where we do that for an hour.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, it's a money chant. So
everybody would join in.
we should do it in a round. Like you want to start, then the next. Remember when you were a kid?
Yes.
Row, row, row your Trembreze. Yeah, exactly. That's what we had to do.
Okay, so you write down your 4 sentences, then you put that up somewhere clearly where you can see it, like
right.
You
could type it up. You could put it in a little frame if you want, like you're a business. You could put your name on the top.
Cool. I like that idea.
Type it up.
I love that idea.
Show up with our mission statements next week. But I mean,
put it on a t-shirt.
Put it on a shirt. Put it on a bumper sticker, kids.
Yeah, but live it then go and live it. Because I was saying is I know, you've been, but still sometimes I'm like amazed that I get through my day and I'm not addicted to anything. I'm really not. It's like, wow, so I mean, I know what to do when I have a strong emotional experience. Because isn't that what addiction is? I don't want to feel this, so I'm just going to go do this. I don't want to think about this, so I'm going to go do this. I'm going to bury my head in the sand with this because this feels so much better than being an emotional being. And when you learn how to really pay attention to the way you're feeling and listen to your body and then allow yourself to be committed to taking care of yourself, it gets easier and easier. Like I am always, every once in a while, I'll have a really strong emotion and I'll find myself standing in front of the refrigerator. I'm like, why am I here? Right? Like, why am I here? Oh, right. This I did 30 years ago. I'm not doing this. But so it's insidious. Every once in a while, it'll just show up in my life. And I'm like, oh, I don't do this anymore.
You're a light worker. You want that light.
Yeah. But I'm not perfect. So, it's not about being perfect. It's just about waking up in the morning with a mission.
Now, Kim, should you say it out loud? Should you read it before you go to bed? Like, what's the process?
I would. It's not like a script, right? A script is something that has a lot of emotional. When you read your mission, it should feel really good to you. It should, everything about it. There's nothing negative about it. You're not coming from a negative space. You're deciding, this is how I'm showing up in the world. This is who I'm going to be from now on. I'm a person who plays big. I'm a person who takes care of themselves and keeps their commitments to their body. I'm a person and I really am. Like every once in a while, we all go off, but every once in a while, we all get it right too. And how can you get it right if you don't decide? Like
exactly.
What are you getting right? So this is your decision about, this is what I'm going to get right in my life. This is what I want to do. This is who I want to be. And so don't go to someone and say, what's my purpose? Write it down. You decide. My purpose is to show up and I'm a service, right? I'm a service, whatever that means. Right. Sometimes being of service is just looking at another person and saying, hey, nice hair. Like, I don't know.
Nice, thanks. Nice fringe.
Yeah, nice fringe. Nice fringe. I love that.
Yeah. So
I don't know if anybody has any questions that are watching, but I can also say to you that we have some big things coming up next week. We will not be here for the live show, but you could be with us. And Tracy, why don't you tell everybody how to do that?
Woo! Okay, seeing through the eyes of love. The focus of our third mastermind is to learn about the emotional scale and how to use the what thought feels better tool. This is an amazing tool that Kim has taught us. The what thought feels better. I keep missing thought. What thought feels better, which it works. It's again such a simplistic tool, but you can keep that in your tool bag, take it out, use it anytime you want. And that's what I love about our mastermind. Every single mastermind, we are learning something new. Kim is giving us a tool and you are able to use it in your life every single day. You're going to meet the group. We're excited to meet our members. We all meet, we get to know each other. And then Kim gives us a lesson and facilitates it with an interactive workshop. As I was saying, not only she talk about it, but she shows you how to actually do it. Then we actually do it. So it's ingrained in you and you know exactly what's happening. Group discussion, you get to talk about what you need and how that tool can apply. And then we end it with a personalized group meditation, which is epic. Ladies and gentlemen, I've told you that I have monkey mind. It's all over the place a lot of the time. Whenever Kim leads the personalized group meditation, I can tell you that nothing else happens in the world. It just stops. And it is such a great thing because she personalizes it for every single person in the group. So whatever you discussed, she's taking notes, she's talking about it, she's thinking about it. And then the group energy is focused on what you are trying to do. And as you all know, 10 heads are better than one. And everybody's energy is going your way. And trust me, it's a super powerful thing. It's only $20 a session. Each session includes every single time the lecture, the interactive workshop, the group discussion, and the personalized meditation. How you get it is you Venmo Donna V at Salon Gossip with your email address, reserve your spot. You are going to love it. And the exciting part is we tape the meditation, just the meditation part, and you get that sent to you. So you can use that at your discretion anytime. It's great to sleep to, wake up to, get yourself motivated during the day. And it's all for $20. You cannot beat it, ladies and gentlemen.
Such a good deal.
That was an amazing commercial you just did.
Yeah, really.
You're so good. You must do this for a living. I love it. I love it. I'm so excited because, again, like I said, you know, I have definitely listened to that meditation, even though it's like, it's about everybody else and me. So it's not just about me, but you can contact Kim if you're looking for a personalized meditation that you need something specific. Kim, I mean, didn't you do some for your son and his friends at college?
Yeah, I've been doing meditations left and right. So and it's personalized for you. So if you're interested in a meditation, reach out to me and I have a questionnaire that you answer, and I could even speak to you if you need to, but we'll talk about it all. Just send me an email and I will, how to get me is all over Facebook, and it's awesome. I mean, it is awesome.
Nope, that's not the price of the thing. That was for your.
No, that
was something old. Hold on, wait, let me take that off before I confuse people. They're like, I can get a meditation for that. No,
you can.
Yeah, but just send me an email and I will create your own meditation. You answer 5 questions, and if you have it's pretty lengthy that you got to answer. You give me, and I'll make it exactly for what you're going through to lift you up to help you. And it's just like the meditation in the group, but even longer, because the meditation in the group, you get a minute or two. That specialized meditation is way longer, and you can listen to it. I'll give you the recording. You listen as often as you want. It's awesome.
How great is that?
That is awesome.
How great is that?
Yeah. And I have to say, why I love the meditation in the group is when you're thinking of healing someone else, when you're sending someone else healing light, when you're thinking about someone else and lifting them up, the rule that goes with that is whatever you give away comes flying back at you. So that's the rule of life, right? So whatever you're giving away goes flying back at you. So when you're focused on somebody and you're thinking, I hope you're lifted in light, and you think, I hope you're lifted up, they get lifted up and you get lifted up. So It's just, it really is. I love doing it.
You know what I love?
The cards.
It's that time of the night. The time is right. If you feel energy with any of us, I would suggest Kim or Tracy tonight. Just kidding. Just be honest. But if you feel some energy, I love making you laugh, Kim. You inspire me weekly to think about actually going back to comedy. I'm like, I just want to go back to comedy just because if I had an audience of Kims, I'd be selling out theaters. So I just want to let you all know that.
I love you very much.
That's okay. I love that Horseshack laugh. It brings me right back to welcome back, Connor. So let's give it to Kim first. Kim, you tell me when you want me to stop, and I shall do that.
Now.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So this job card is first. The bottom card is second. Again, if any of you feel the energy of Kim tonight, if you're feeling really like connected to her, then this message is for you as well. First card up is surrender.
Oh my God, really?
There's no point in pushing the barrel.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Is it from the cops? Surrender your credit card number?
Oh.
Go ahead.
There's no point in pushing the barrel up. Now we come with the spiritual comedy. I love it. The barrel up such a steep hill. Go back to the start. Surrender your expectations. There's an easier way. When the time is right, a new path will appear. I heard this one recently for someone else. It's such an interesting card.
Ooh.
Transformation. Through the great love that holds you in its embrace, you are moment by moment transforming to ever greater light, ever greater oneness, and ever greater wisdom.
I love
and
this.
It is so.
Amen.
That is like your mission statement. You're like, I don't even need to write it.
It's done.
The angels already did it. Bazam.
All right.
Shrimbreze,
Tracy Locke. Tell me when.
Now.
Okay.
Right there.
I'm good.
Right there.
If you feel the energy tonight, like Tracy Locke, then these cards are also for you. First one up, Healing Angel.
Ooh.
At this very moment, you are being bathed in gold, pink, and deep green light. Accept this healing. We, your angels, surround you with wings of love. You are an eternally free, eternally fresh, and you are eternally free, eternally fresh, and eternally abundant. Yes. Nice. Okay.
Free, fresh, and abundant.
Positive outcome.
Positive outcome, Tracy. Woo-hoo.
The sun is about to burst through the clouds, and you will soon see things in a different light. Something that previously seemed hopeless will soon be filled with nothing but hope. That's awesome. She's getting that house, and there's a baby in there waiting for her. In there. There's a baby in the house.
Baby in the house.
Yeah. It's like a gift with purchase. They're like, this house has a crib we couldn't get rid of.
So there's a baby stuck in there. So good luck. It's been there for a while, but if you can get the head stuck from wrapping through the bars, you're good.
Through the bars.
All right, let's see what Donna gets. Here we go.
All right, be sure my energy.
Shrimbreze.
All right, here we go, guys. The first card up is Truth.
Oh.
The best way through the current situation is just speak your truth. Contrary to what you may think, no one will be hurt if you express exactly how you feel.
All right.
Gratitude. Make gratitude your new attitude. The stars will shine brighter upon you. All in your world will become lighter with gratitude.
Good cards, Donna.
Good cards, right, you guys?
Yeah,
ladies and gentlemen, whoever's watching here in the gallery tonight, and I also just noticed that we have a visitor named Christina Kimes who's back. And nice to see you, Christina. Welcome back. I hope your mom is doing well. We are Open-Minded Mystics. As we already said, next week we will be in a private group. There's still time to get in. If you'd like to join us, let us know. And if not, we will be playing a repeat. I actually think that what we've been doing is working. We repeat the week before because there's so much that you probably or may have missed about tonight. So why not watch it again and write your mission statement with our help? I think that'd be amazing. Don't you guys think that?
I agree.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I just want to say thank you to everyone that watched, for your time, for your energy, and for sharing and subscribing. It is really important. We're trying to impact the world and to elevate the vibration of the global population one Monday night at a time. So thank you so much for being here. Kim, love you. Tracy, love you. Kim, cut up the credit card. And Jerry Reesby, Kathy, nice to see you. Anyone else that's watching, thank you so much. We really appreciate you. Have an amazing
Have a great night.
Good night.